make a buck.
Yeah, so I thought this was really interesting, and I like how we kind of line these films up, right? We did Superbad first. Jonah Hill he was in a film that was released in 2007. This was going on during that time. I like that. It's one of those things that he's now playing in that film that, he had a lot of success in Superbad. He's playing in that role at a time when he's now, they're creating history during that time, so he can now play another role. I'm going to give you the floor here on some of the plot. What do you think about the plot?
Well, this is, again, I have to go with your loosely based on a true story.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of it was, probably true in some sense, but like they kind of over-exaggerated some parts maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it could be true. But
yeah, I think they really over-exaggerated some of the parts.
Yeah.
Like,
especially that part when he's in the hallway, like
2007, driving through Iraq, or maybe it was 2008. That time period, driving through Iraq, very well may have been dangerous, but in the same regard, they had another escort with them that could translate and whatnot. So I wouldn't have been, I would have been nervous. Don't get me wrong, if I were to take that journey. But yeah, they got to spin it up a little bit. Throw some fighting and dead bodies, and the U.S. comes to save them. Yeah, that's pretty awe-inspiring.
Well, and then just like that guy's like, you went through the triangle of death.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that was kind of.
I would love to know how true that was. Did they actually go through that, and was there, people
like
shooting at him during that film?
Like you said, they might have went through that.
Yeah.
But it was probably like a corner of it.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, they had people interpreting for them, so they didn't get shot.
Yeah, you go through some checkpoints, and there's a bunch of guys with guns, and you're just kind of sitting there with a bunch of guns in your cargo. And you're like, okay, that was a interesting scene for me to watch. I like that scene where they kind of pull up to that checkpoint and oh shit, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna get caught? What's going on? Oh, we're just carrying some cigarettes, right? Okay, yeah, here's some for you. Take some. All right, see you guys later. Bye.
Well, I think they were both kind of. Well, I think the one guy was more freaking out than Jonah Hill's character, but
yeah, sure. Overall, the plot and the structure, not my cup of tea. No, I would say that again. Like it was not my cup of tea.
I kind of felt it was same thing over and over. It got a little bit more intense, maybe.
Yeah.
But in the end, it was kind of similar.
I don't want to spoil it too much, but just Jonah Hill's character, he's playing a character within a character. I like that about the film too. Just like we talked about earlier, he's in all these kind of semi-shyster type characters, and in this film he was a shyster, shady character. He was that character.
I feel like he was more of that shady character. Because he acted differently one time than the other. Like, even at least in his other films, that's how he was all the time. This movie, he was like, oh, I'm a good guy. And then he was like...
There was that scene where he's that guy who owns the dry cleaner, and in that inner monologue that guy was saying, he's like, he'll basically do anything. He'll perform whatever character you want in front of this guy just so he can get his way in a way, trying to manipulate the people that he's with. And he was that character to the end too. He was just that manipulative, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear type of character. I like that. It made the movie more enjoyable to watch for me. If he wasn't that character, I don't know if I'd want to watch it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I still feel like his character went a little bit too above.
Yeah, the way it went, like, another criticism I would give this film is it didn't have much for, like, it was like soft waves. There's maybe a couple spikes where there was plots where it was like, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's
but a lot of it was like, okay, are you
waves.
gonna get going? It's like, okay, you're trying to build up here and there, but the 2 points I would talk about would be them driving across Iraq. That was a huge critical part, and then the time where they call him up. They meet Bradley Cooper's character. I wouldn't even call that like it was a climactic build.
Yeah.
But the part where he gets kidnapped would be another like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? And that's when things kind of transpired the way they did.
I still feel like that part when they get the ammo from China and then they're like, oh shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, financially, they feel like they've screwed themselves because, oh, shit, we can't sell the Chinese ammo to the government. And, like...
Well, first they thought they could get away with it.
Like on the theme of Wolf of Wall Street, greed kind of takes over. And they're like, how can we just get rid of this without having to do anything else? Like, okay, what if we just box it up? It'd make it cheaper. We don't have to have as much in gas and transportation. And it's the same shit, right? Just give it to them. And, yeah, it was pretty controversial.
Pretty smart, actually.
Smart, maybe, for that time. If they would have gotten away with it, you know. It's not illegal until you get caught, I guess.
Well, I mean, what do? You just buy all the ammo for double the price that the guy that you bought it for. So then you're like, and then the government doesn't buy, outsourced ammunition. So you're like, well, shit, what do we do with this? And then the one guy comes up with the idea, hey, just bag it, tag it, and send it over. And okay, it's an easy way to save a buck.
And spoiler alert, don't watch this if you don't want spoilers. They didn't pay the box guy. Yeah. That's how they got caught. Out of all the things that they could have gotten caught with, it comes down to they didn't pay the box guy, and he ended up calling the Department of Defense or whoever.
This is the guy that was boxing up the ammo for the Chinese bullets.
They tried boxing up the bullets, and he just never got paid. So he's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
I want to get some of the details on the actual film.
You never did that with the last one.
I never did either, and I'll go back and do that. So the contract that they got for the Afghan National Army, they were trying to arm the Afghan National Army, was $300 million. And in the movie, I think they said they were gonna net profit like $8 million. I think off that. Their company was. So I mean, you're talking big dollar figures. Like the plot of the film, I would say there were some dollar figures there. So off of here, however accurate this is, came out in 2016. It says that it grossed $86 million. So huge success. I just think that's so bizarre. Like, how easy is that for a plot of something that just happens? It's written for you. Like, I love it and I hate it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things like, I like something well written and worthy to watch. This one, they filled in the gaps okay. They didn't really have to write much of a plot. It's there. It happened. It's history. You know what I mean? It's like taking a news snippet and being like, okay, we're going to follow this character and write off of that. They still had to fill in the gaps and write, a linear plot. But it's kind of cheating in a way. But I like it because it's based off a true story.
Yeah. Like Wolf of Wall Street, at least it was... And that's based on different guys.
That's the same thing, and you could tell like that's definitely not 100% accurate. They did a lot of fluffing, Well, maybe not. Who knows? I don't know.
I feel like they fluffed a lot.
I feel like they fluffed a lot of it. Same with this film though too. They did fluff a lot of it.
I thought
how much of it is true? Like yes, these two young guys, they got a government contract for millions of dollars. How true is that though? That they ran into Bradley Cooper's character in Vegas, and he's like, oh, you guys need some AK ammo? Yeah, I know some hookups. How about the Albanian army? You just buy it off of them and they'll
I
just
feel like there had been some sort of transfer before that.
Yeah, maybe.
There's no way. There's like, these guys look like they sell ammo. I'm going to try to come up to them and try to sell my ammo.
And I don't know much about government contracts to know how that all transpires anyway. Because they portrayed that, was it Dick Cheney was... He was getting his buddies to basically fund this war, right? So they're like, well, okay, we're gonna do like a Dick Cheney rule to say, all right, let's give some of the contracts to the little guy, and they were trying to play the little guy and getting some of these government contracts to fill these orders.
Well, that was the whole thing. I don't know if it was Dick Cheney, but it was a Republican that basically opened it up for small businesses to sell ammo.
Yeah,
it's still open to this day. There's small companies that want to do it.
Yeah, you just get on that website and fulfill these orders and. Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like was when they try to sell the armor, and they try selling really shitty armor.
Sure.
So like that's killing lives right there.
Yeah, potentially people are dying because of your shitty sales
stuff. Yeah. I feel like that was a thing they shouldn't have did, because like you're basically like killing. I know you're trying to make money, but you're killing innocent people.
Absolutely, I agree.
It's different. I mean, bullets. That's still, you know.
Yeah, you're funny. I mean,
armor's worse. I feel like
they're bottom feeders. You know, they even say it in the film. They're not in it for the war. They were against the war to begin with. But if there's money to be made, why not fill that gap and make some money while you're at it?
Yeah, but I feel like if you're getting stuff to your allies, you would make sure it's better, high quality stuff.
Absolutely. And you know, I'm gonna go back and get some of the figures off of Wolf of Wall Street. What is your final take of this film?
I mean, is it a movie I would watch again? Probably not. I mean, it's like one of those borderline, like, if I had to watch it, I would watch it. Honestly, I'd probably watch Chum Scrubber.
Over this film?
Over this film. Just because I feel like Chum Scrubber is more realistic than this movie is.
I would say this they did a good job of playing it realistically.
Yeah, no, I know, but like I felt like some of it was just overboard.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Like that's why I feel like Chum Scrubber, like even Chum Scrubber, I felt like was more realistic than this.
Yeah,
it has that more realistic vibe. Where this is, I mean, I get the more realistic. I know it's based.
This is truly based on a true story just because of the transpiring. Yeah, but Chum Scrubbers, I like it just because it's completely made up. Yeah, you have to start from ground zero and say,
that's what I'm saying. But it's more realistic.
Our characters? What's our plot?
That's what I'm saying. It's like more realistic than this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain parts that I wouldn't believe, but you know, like for the most part, there's stuff that this is based on a true story. I don't really believe. Like just like the whole Bradley Cooper's part is like how true is that? Like,
I do like how they kind of had put it. There's an ending there where it kind of is somewhat happy at the end, where Bradley Cooper's character basically gives him a bunch of cash. He's like, I know you went through shit. Glad you didn't say my name. Here's a bunch of cash for you. You know, I like that.
It wasn't really a bunch of cash. It was like only 100,000, I think, or something like that. I thought.
Oh, I don't know how much it was, but it was a suitcase full of cash. I mean, it was just kind of like, we got to make this a happy ending here. Let's end on a high note.
Well, even that, how's that? I mean, how truly is that?
Yeah, who knows how true that is? Like, yeah,
I'm sure the guy just didn't want to be a snitch.
Sure. Yeah, I thought one of the more saddest parts of the film was at the ending there, where they had that driver in Albania that would drive him around. I can't remember his name, but at the end it kind of portrays him that they ended up killing him because they were trying to write Bradley Cooper's character out of the contract because it was like he was getting it for a fourth of the price of what they were selling it at. Yeah. So if they cut him out, then they could get it for a fourth of the price and sell it to the government, raking even in more money.
They were trying to get rid of the middleman, even though they are the middleman.
They're the middleman. That was like, okay, you got this chain of people that they're trying to cut loose, and the one that they shouldn't have cut loose is the one that really made the plot worthy of something.
Yeah, I felt like that guy was like kind of on their side too. Like he didn't seem like he was at all against, you know. So it is kind of crummy that they did that, but.
Yeah, they don't. It doesn't say here how much was in the briefcase, but he gives them a briefcase full of money.
I just watched that.
He's the narrator of the film, so it just finalizes it. It leaves a happy feeling in somebody's head, saying, "Okay, the main character who played, he maybe got into some riffraff, but you know, at least he's done and clear of it. He got out of it, and happy ever after." The end.
From the highlight reel that I watched before coming here, they roughed it around $100,000. I'm not saying that's what it was, but that's what. Based on that video I watched.
Sure.
I would have to rewatch this movie to really figure out the natural.
So we're a little bit past 20 minutes on this film. What is your rating of this film?
I would honestly go lower than Wolf of Wall Street. I honestly really do like true movies, but this is not really one of them. I'd have to give it like, I mean, this is really, I want to say like
look at your backlog there.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of looking at. I honestly would think this is worse than Superbad. I want to say it's like. I want to give it.
Then you're way down there. You going lower than Chump Scrubbers?
I'm thinking about it. I'll give it a 3.2.
3.2. Wow, that's a hell of a demotion. I would agree. I would agree. Like just based off enjoyability, it kept me at the edge of my seat. You know, I was interested while watching it, but after watching it once, I'm kind of like, wow, why did I watch that? Why? Come on, there's so many other films out there that are better. I've watched better. I know there's better. I know they could have done better. I think the plot, the cheesiness of just pulling it off the news, the plot, that's a huge demotion for me. Even though I never knew about the whole thing beforehand, but knowing about it beforehand, they basically ripped it off the internet in a way. Not saying I wouldn't do that either, but I just think that lowers the level of the enjoyability for me.
I felt like Wolf of Wall Street, he really builds his empire where these guys like just kept it the same and just like just raised their prices, like they actually went dirtier in a way. Like they never really tried to prove anything, I feel like.
I'm not gonna go as low as you, but I'm definitely gonna put it down below a 4. I'm gonna do 3.7.
I was gonna say 3.8. God, I seriously was
3.7 just because it's a heavy movie. It's huge. It made him a shit ton of money. I would say that, and I liked watching it. It was a good film.
Like I said, it's one of those movies like the trailer.
The trailer gets you
way hooked.
The trailer hooks you.
And then
but it's not what the trailer is.
Yeah.
It's definitely not what the trailer is. The trailer is the highlight reel. It's the typical story of like the best parts of the film being on the trailer.
And I'm not saying it's really a bad thing. Like, I feel like Wardogs did portray that trailer in a way, but like, just not to. I don't know. I didn't really like it, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, going back to Wolf of Wall Street, I'm going to get some numbers off of that. So this film, we rated it bad, but it did really well, grossing 86 million.
But people were basing off the trailer.
Maybe they hooked a lot of people. But and maybe there are some other people. Let's see what it got on Rotten Tomatoes.
But Jonah Hill was.
Let's see what we gave it lower ratings. Let's see what it got on Rotten Tomatoes.
But I'm saying, and Jonah Hill was more of a rising star at that time. Because he probably just did 21 Jump Street and all those other ones, so I'm sure.
61%.
So it's a little over half.
Audience gives it a little bit higher. Yeah. It's kind of in line. It's definitely kind of in line.
I mean, that's about what we gave it. Half.
I would say, yeah.
A little over half.
So we did pretty good on rating that then, as far as like whether it was good or not. It's still in the good category, and I would agree. It's still in the good category. It's just not up there.
Yeah,
it's definitely not up there.
I knew it wasn't the good.
So we rated Wolf of Wall Street fairly high, and I bet you this one was
pretty high.
Pretty high.
Well, I mean, it's got Leonardo DiCaprio. It's got Matthew McConaughey. This movie has more heavy hitters, I feel like, than Wolf of Wall Street or Wardogs or. And there you go, 80%. And that's about what we rated it.
Maybe
4 that's close to 80.
I did 4.3. So yeah, that's definitely about. We're higher than what Rotten Tomatoes was, but still pretty accurate. Definitely higher. And just to round things off, let's just do Superbad. Because we did 3. You did 3.5. I did 4.0. Wow, that was huge. 88%. Holy. Audience 87. We lowballed the hell out of that one. Holy. Maybe there's some glasses that people were really putting for this film, you know. I enjoyed it. I don't know if it was that worthy though. 88%.
I mean, but you gotta think back then when you're a teenager.
Yeah, and maybe it's a different audience of that time. I wish they would say, like, this is obviously probably when the movie came out too, that people were rating on this and comparing it to other films
at the time too. Yeah.
And it's a comedy too, so maybe it's a different level of it's a different level.
I just like how we were close on those other two. And
yeah, we're way off on this one. Yeah, that is interesting.
Want to see the other one.
Yeah, let's run through them. So,
I bet you Chum Scrubber's not
Ventura, Ace Ventura.
This one we gotta be on because we rated.
Oh, what? What?
They lowballed it.
They lowballed this one hardcore, man. How 48%? You kidding me? Audience got it a little higher though, but still rotten.
Wow.
I mean,
I don't think I agree with that.
I think. Well, I personally, I'm in the same boat. I don't agree. We definitely probably rated a little higher than what we should have, but we're looking at it through our own lenses. This is just taken from a wide spectrum. So
I just want to watch what's wrong with it. Everything that's wrong with Ace Ventura.
Anyway, this is where we could get more of the info off of box office, money they made and whatnot. So, okay. Yeah, okay. So people are kind of knocking the character a little bit.
Well, yeah, he's not supposed to be serious.
Yeah, and I think,
I still feel
I don't like how that gets rated differently. Like, you still have take two comedies. You have Ace Ventura and Superbad, right? How are they so rated differently? To me, the comedy is still comedy. You still have to go against the grain somewhat to be a good comedy. Like, you're not going to sit there and be like a nice polished film.
I know, but I feel like Superbad is more realistic than like how an Ace Ventura.
Sure, I get that. Maybe people.
And I think that's what they're basing.
Maybe people portray themselves through the film a little bit. They're like, oh, what if I was in Superbad? What if I was Ace Ventura? Yeah. That's not how I would act. I'm not going to. I don't care if the film is funny or not. I just don't think I would act like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I like the escapism of it. I want to be able to watch something and it to be funny. I don't want to portray myself.
And it's not like he was dumb. Ace Ventura was probably one of the smartest people in the room. That's just how he acted.
Yeah.
Because he proved the whole police department wrong in that one scene where he goes to prove that Roger Redactor got murdered instead of commit suicide.
Yeah, I disagree with that one too.
Yeah, I have to disagree with that one.
So, Crank.
I feel like
2006.
Yeah, that's pretty
okay. 62%. That's in line with Wardogs.
I'm kind of
audience puts it a little higher. You're definitely higher. I'm higher too. Thinking about it, I could bring my score down a little bit. I'm keeping my score, but
that's one. That's one of our three.
I would have brought, if I were to, in retrospect, Crank and Chum Scrubbers swap those ratings for me. Honestly,
it's not that much of a difference.
It's not that much of a difference, but I almost put the Chum Scrubbers above Crank.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. But what we've all been waiting for, I know you've been waiting for this.
Chum Scrubber.
What does the Chum Scrubber receive on Rotten Tomatoes?
We can see how much they made too. How much it was and how much.
No, I know it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
That's right.
I already looked it up.
That was one of the ones you actually could find.
Oh my God, 37%! No way! Look at the audience score though, 75%. What is there such a disparity in the critics? Let me. 3.8 out of 5. What'd you rate it at? You rated it 3. So you were under. I was closer to the 3.8 on the audience score, but this was comparable to a 2.5,
which is closer to my rank, really.
Yeah, true. You gave it the old
I get a little
grossness.
Yep.
Let's see what the box office grossed. $49,000 off of like a $20 million film. Huge upset. What do you do though? What do you do?
Definitely not going to be a sequel.
No. You're going to have to say, okay. Top critic. He says, despite the top drawer cast assembled for this debut feature, the director Ari Posen's account of emotional dislocation in the burbs is stymied by a fatally uneven tone and a growing suspicion that we've even been down this road many, many times before. I can kind of get where he's coming with that.
I mean, you got some heavy hitters.
Another top. Okay, here's a good rating. 3 out of 5. It's a surreal, offbeat comedy where the kidnappers are hopelessly inept while Belle feels hopelessly at sea. That's an interesting take.
Who's Belle?
Wasn't Belle the female character?
Female character.
Who was Belle?
I don't know. Crystal was the girl.
Crystal was a female character.
Female, and then Dean was the main guy.
Yep.
I don't know.
I'm gonna read one more critic of it. A tragic waste of acting talent with nothing new to say. Can we please now politely close the door on middle class repression before we get really angry? I don't portray it like that.
I don't portray it like that either. I didn't like how some
middle class repression. I don't think that's it. Is it middle class? I would put all those characters more in upper class. Honestly, did you see some of the sizes of their houses? Like those are some huge...
some were middle, but I would say the higher side.
Okay, maybe the.
I do agree with you. More over on the higher side though.
Yeah, so I don't know how they could say middle class repression. Maybe because they're trying to. Maybe they base.
The whole class.
Was it Billy? They base him off of like middle class, so he's kind of like, oh, let's fucking throw stones at this kid because he's bad, you know. I could get that. I could get that vibe in a way. I still don't think that's like the main portrayal of the film, though. I think it portrays more of like subscribing antidepressants to kids and how that affects and the drug scene in general in high schools. Plus, it's completely fabricated, so I mean, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt.
I feel like it's more truthful. What, like seriously, like when you told me the kid's been on pills from almost day one, I didn't think about it until you told me that. Cause, he's just popping pills like they're nothing.
Yep.
But I was thinking because he's a druggie, Like I just thought he was taking them just because he's so used to it. But he's got a tolerance to it now but then he's dead inside. He's not emotion.
Yeah.
So it made more sense to me.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more realistic. Like, honestly, this movie is more realistic. There was some scenes like the mayor getting his head bonked and painting dolphins. I felt like kind of
I like that part.
I know, but
makes it interesting.
But it was kind of stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I can kind of get if he was like mentally not there or something. But just getting bonked in the head and starting making dolphins.
I tell you what, this isn't the extra real anymore. This is the chump scrubbers over and over again. That's what this is.
It might get brought up again. Maybe, I don't know.
I like it. Well, we're at an hour and 15. So I think we should end it there. It's been a lot of fun. I like talking about the 3 films we had. They were decent. I wish there was more interaction, I guess that's part of being fresh and new to the scene, but...
We never did check it, or have you been checking
I didn't check... Well, it should pop up here in the middle. I got this chat window here. People would input new chats. You could see them come up here in the middle, but there's nothing. It says...
Monday Night Football.
The chat is ready to display messages. That's what it says, so...
It's Monday Night Football!
We got one viewer on Twitch, which is probably us. And I don't know if there was any viewers on... Let's check our YouTube stream.
That's where the hello chat was, isn't it? Or would it chat for both?
You should show chat for both.
Oh, okay.
Boom. Oh, let me turn this mute. One watching. It's probably us too. Why not?
Got Monday Night Football. I wonder if I should say something before we go live. Almost
so get somebody coming to the show. Yeah, so draws people.
I think we should change it maybe from Monday night to
Tuesday
or something. Yeah. Just so we're not fighting for Monday Night.
Not fighting Monday Night Football, and maybe there's some bored individual out there willing to chat with us.
Tuesday night instead of Monday night.
Yep. Well, we're signing out. I'm going to throw it over to the close-up. Welcome to the Extra Real Podcast. Next week, join us. You see it there. Join us next time for another exciting episode of talking about movies and then going back to talk about the Chum Scrubbers.
I was going to just change your name to the Chum Scrubbers. The extra real chum scrubbers.
Yeah. This is the extra real signing out. Until next time. Thank you.